welcome to the Woollentwine Fiber Studio knitting podcast. My name is Jule and I am the dyer and maker behind Woollentwine Fiber Studio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with natural dyes and natural yarns. Today I want to introduce you to everything we will have available in the next shop update. So I'm going to do another little preview video where I talk you through everything that's going to be available and also some new admin bits and bobs, and yeah, just generally inform you about things regarding the next shop update. So yeah, again, this episode is not about my personal knitting, but rather a little bit more info heavy. And also, I haven't been recording a proper knitting episode for a while, and I'm really sorry about that, but the problem is that my mojo has been gone for pretty long. I don't know, I haven't had a knitting mojo issue in quite a long time, especially not in this kind of lengthy version. I don't know, it's very busy over here. I'm also working on some things behind the scenes that I'm going to share more about soon. But yeah, it has been pretty busy, and also maybe the weather and the warmth is not really putting me into the mood of knitting. I don't know. I haven't had an issue with a lack of a knitting mojo in the summer, like in the last few years, but this year it's different, so I'm not really knitting a lot these days. I have a few projects on my needles, but I'm getting an hour of knitting done maybe in like 2 weeks, so there's not a lot of progress to show currently. But I will show you some nice yarn today, which is also a nice thing to do, I guess. As always, I will start with a little bit of an introduction and telling you what bases will be available. Then I'm gonna show you the colorways that we'll have available, and at the end of the video I'm going to talk you through some admin things such as shop update timing, shipping things and all these kind of things. Everything that's new I will cover at the end of the video. I will also add timestamps just so you can also skip to the section that interests you the most. And you don't have to rewatch everything just because you're looking for like specific info or something. So yeah, without further ado, let me jump right in. Okay, for this shop update, we decided to kind of focus on the more summery kind of bases, just because I feel like not a lot of people are really in the mood of knitting thick woolly jumpers in the summer. I might be wrong, it's just, I don't know, it's my first season as a full-time yarn dyer, so I might be wrong with my thoughts on this, but yeah, let me know what you think. Do you knit all year round? Like, do you knit really heavy things all year round, or are you a summer project kind of knitter? I'm never sure how people are about this. It's a very individual thing, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to focus on some lighter bases for this time, so it's going to be only our fingering weight bases in this shop update, just so you can still, if you haven't started any summer knitting, you could still do so and maybe make some lightweight shawls or socks or whatever you're up to. So we're going to have our BFL Masham 4-ply, which is the fingering weight version of our BFL Masham bases, which is a blend of 75% Blueface Leicester sheep and 25% Masham sheep. So it ends up being a grey base because of the Masham. The Masham is a naturally mid-brown to grey sheep, so it adds a little bit of grey to the yarn base, which makes the colorways kind of more heathered and not as punchy as, for example, a white base would be. All our yarns are non-superwash, plastic-free and with no nylon content, as many of you probably know by now, but I should still mention this. And all naturally dyed, so there has been no synthetic dyes put to this, so it's all just with natural dyes, and Yeah, I've tried to create kind of a color palette that's both with a couple of neutrals and some lighter summery colors, but also with a few moody and darker colors, because I know that's what many of you appreciate a lot when we do it. So yeah, the BFMSM 4-ply is very suitable for shawls and garments and everything. It's pretty drapey, but still holds up its shape quite well. So it's not like an 100% alpaca yarn that really like drapes a lot. But it has a really nice kind of drapey fabric that's very lovely, both for shawls and garments, I feel. I'm currently knitting, I can maybe show you. I think it was in one of my podcast episodes, but I haven't made a lot of progress in the meantime. But I'm knitting my Sommernacht shawl out of this base currently. It's all very wrinkly because, yeah, it's a lace pattern, so it might not be the prettiest to show. But yeah, it's a lacy kind of shawl. And I really enjoy knitting this, and it's definitely doable even in the warmer temperatures to knit with this yarn base. Especially if you work it on a slightly more open gauge like I'm doing here. I think I'm using a 3.5 millimeter needle, and that results in a very airy and nice fabric. So it's not like you're having a big woolly blanket on your lap when you knit on this. So definitely appropriate for summer knitting, I guess. And this base will come in a couple of trusty old favorite colorways, but we also have 2 new colorways that I'm going to show you in a second. And yeah, I hope you'll find something you like, and let me show you the colorways on BFMSM 4-ply now. The first one I'm going to show to you is pretty much a classic by now, and this one is Sand. And Sand is just a very light, neutral kind of beige that goes with pretty much every color in our palette. So it's perfect for color work as well, if you want to have like a base color for color work. And I would say if you look at it very closely, you can see that there's a tiny bit of a rosy sheen to it, making it slightly warmer. I don't know if that makes sense, and I'm not sure why my camera doesn't want to focus right now. Here we go. But yeah, it's just a very nice subtle neutral that goes with pretty much everything else we dye. So I'm always thinking I should maybe make myself like a colorful shawl with this as a base color, but I never know how to realize that, and if I should maybe make mini skeins in the BFMSM 4-ply. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. I just had the idea it could be very nice to have like a base color and then marl kind of more colorful mini skeins into it. I don't know. It was just an idea. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, that one is Sand. And next up in the more neutral section, am I getting really dark here? Let me see. Is that better? I think so. We have also a classic colorway by now that is called Almond. And this is like the slightly more saturated and more warm brother to Sand, I would say. It's also still very neutral and very easy to combine with other colors, but it's a slightly bit more saturated and more warm than Sand. Next up is our colorway that's also very much a classic by now. And that one is Caramel. And this is a significantly more saturated and more warm caramelly kind of color that I personally really like. So yes, this is Caramel. I'm not sure why we're having some focusing issues here. I think I might have to fix that in a second. But first of all, let me show you the 3 classic colorways next to each other so you can kind of get an idea of how they behave. So this is Sand, In the middle we have almond, and then this one is caramel. So you can see next to each other that sand and almond are pretty close, but just a tiny bit more warmth is in the almond colorway, I would say. So yeah. Next up is another kind of neutral, but with a little bit more color, I would say. And that colorway was, I think we introduced this one in the last shop update for the first time. But this is Fawn. And it's kind of a reddish brown. That's a bit more muted than our other brownish orange colorway Maple Leaf. It's a little more muted than that. But it's still very wearable, I feel, and yeah, goes very well with a lot of other colors. So that one is Fawn. Let me move on over to our greenish yellow color family, if you will. And this one is Olive. We haven't had this one in the shop for quite a while, so I thought to bring it back because it's also a very summery color, I feel. It's a bit more green, I think, on camera than it is in real life. In real life it has more yellow undertone, if I can say it like this. But it's a very pretty greeny yellow color that also goes very well with a lot of other shades. Let me, for example, put it next to caramel. Also very autumnal this way, right? Let me put this one. This pretty much reminds me of autumn leaves. Maybe not the right way to put it in July, but yeah, I really like this combo as well. So yeah, those are this is the Olive colorway. And from Olive we are now moving over to our more pink and berry toned colorways. And first of all, I want to start out with one that was very popular in the last shop update and that I personally also really like. And this one is Rose Quartz. It's a very light pink with warm undertones, I would say. Come on, camera. And it's it shows the heathered effect of the BFM Masham very nicely, I feel. So it's a very lively color, even though it's quite light. So yeah, I really like that. And last time this colorway sold out super quickly and I was like, wow, I think I have to make more for the next update. And in case you're a lover of pink colorways or like the pinkish color family, we also will restock our Coral colorway, which is a reddish undertoned pink as well, but very much more saturated than the Rose Quartz colorway. I think it's very summery though. Can really imagine a shawl with these two colors maybe. These are Coral and Rose Quartz next to each other. And then to complete our berry rosy toned color family, I'm going to start with another new colorway, and this one is Periwinkle. And it's a slightly bluish lavender shade, I would say. And those of you who might know our lavender colorway, this one I would say is a bit more on the true purple side, whether the other one is more on the lavender side. So this one is more bluish in undertone, I think. So less grayish, more purpley, if I want to put it that way. So yeah, this is Periwinkle. We had that one on our Corriedale sock base last time, so I thought I want to try it on the BFM Masham as well, and I really like the outcome. So yeah, these are rose quartz, coral and periwinkle together. Which is also a combination I really like. And then, last but not least in the berry color family, this is another new colorway that I'm really pleasantly surprised about how it turned out, because if you've been following along for a while, you know that I really love deep and dark berry kind of shades. And I thought I had dyed pretty much all of them by now, but I always craved something that's a bit more like less muted than our raisin and our mulberry colorway, but with more like a berry punch to it. And so I experimented a little bit and we ended up with this colorway that I really love. It's a bit more reddish and purpley than our raisin, for example, which is a bit more brown in undertone. And this colorway is called Oxalis, inspired by our lovely little, I don't know if you can see it, but inspired by our lovely little studio plant back there. Because when I dyed this colorway, I realized that it is pretty much the color of the leaves of this little plant. It's a bit in the shade now, so it might appear a bit darker, but yeah. This is a red clover variety called Oxalis something, so that's why I decided to call the colorway Oxalis. And it's just very beautiful, I think. And again, goes very well with our berry and purple color family, I feel. So yeah. This is how they look all together. Although I have to say, I also really love the combination with, let me pull it out here, to put rose quartz and sand together with the Oxalis colorway. I recently just saw this combo together when it was on my table, and I really love this color combination. So yeah. These are the berry tones, and then lastly we have one more colorway, and you might have seen this one in my Instagram stories before, because I was taking you along while I was dyeing with walnut hulls again, and I was kind of documenting the process a little bit and showing you how I do it and how the whole process is. And the next colorway is the outcome of that dyeing, and this one is the walnut colorway. It's a very nice saturated brown that I think also goes very well with our new Oxalis and the sand. Just a very pretty, maybe slightly autumnal color combination. I don't know, but yeah, that's just how it looks. And I think that is it for the colorways on the BFM Masham 4-ply. So I guess we can move over to the next section, and I'm going to show you some more colorways on Corriedale sock. Okay, let me tell you a few hard facts about our Corriedale sock base. This is our all-natural nylon-free and non-superwash sock yarn. And it is 100% Corriedale sheep fiber that has been spun with a slightly higher twist than normal, resulting in a yarn that's a bit more durable when knit into socks, despite it not having any nylon in it. Like our BFM Masham 4-ply, it has a fingering weight and is 400 meters per 100 grams, roughly. So 100 grams skein of yarn should be enough for a pair of socks up to a size 46, 47, I don't know. But it's plenty for a pair of socks, I would say. And you can normally have some leftovers and use those in like contrasting heels, cuffs and toes for another pair, I think. And yeah, this yarn is a white base, so not like our BFM Masham 4-ply that is a grey yarn. This one is a white one. And so some colors appear a lot brighter on this yarn than they do on the BFA Masham 4-ply, for example. Yeah, so let me start out with the colorways. I have a few like old favorites that we've repeated and a lot of new colorways as well. So let me show you the old ones first and then the new ones and the special ones that I also prepared, because we didn't only prepare just 100-gram skeins, but also a little special all around mini skeins that I'm going to tell you a bit later. But let me start with one of our classics. This is the Rosewood colorway, and it's a very muted kind of old rose pink, if you will, that I think is just very beautiful, and it goes with a lot of other colors, and I think it's really pretty. It's really light here again. Oh gosh, this light situation can be a bit stressful, especially when I'm trying to make these colorways look like they do in real life. But I hope you can see them anyways. So this is the Rosewood colorway. As you can see, this yarn has quite a bit of a sheen to it, so it really shines when I hold it into the light. Next up is another old favorite that's called Dove, and this one is like a light grayish blue. That's also very nice, I think, and silvery. And next up we have another classic. Let me not say classic, but we've had this before and it's just a very lovely color, I feel. This is Oat. And it's just a very neutral kind of beige that goes with all the colors we dye normally. So it's just very versatile, I think. Next up we have a reappearance of a colorway Apricot, which always appears even lighter in real life, on camera than in real life, because it normally has a bit more saturation, I feel, and it's less shiny. It's more of a true apricot kind of color, and I really like this one. It's also a very soft shade if you hold it like this, and yeah, I really like this one. For some reason it never shows up as warm undertoned as it is on camera, but just imagine a tiny bit of a warmer undertone for this one. Next up, I think we're already at the new colorways. Yes, we are. So let me show you the new colorways now. This one is one I particularly like. This one is Cantaloupe, and it's a nice peachy light orange that reminds me of the flesh of a cantaloupe melon. I don't know if you can relate, but it really reminded me of that. It's also a tiny bit less saturated in real life, I would say. But yeah, it pretty much reminded me of eating a juicy cantaloupe melon, hence the name. And we have another very warm and summery colorway, and this one is the outcome of another dyeing session where I took you along, where I dyed with pomegranate skins. And it's really funny because when I posted about this dyeing process, some of you thought that the outcome of that would be like a red or a pink as the seed, or how do you say, the little seed pockets of a pomegranate would be. But the like the peel of a pomegranate actually dyes a yellow. So this is the outcome of the pomegranate dyeing, and again I would say it's a touch more saturated in real life. But this is a very warm summery yellow that I really enjoy. And I decided to also call this one pomegranate because, yeah, with these fruits having a lot of, like, varying a lot in how they are and how depending on when they're harvested and everything, I'm not sure if I can recreate this exact same shade, so I decided to just call it pomegranate, like the walnut one I showed you before. But yeah, this is the outcome. And I'm also, a bit later, I'm going to show you, because I dyed multiple, to exhaust the dye bath, I dyed multiple other skeins with this dye, and over-dyed it with something else that I'm going to show you, to achieve another shade. And that's normally what I really love about natural dyeing, because even though things are unpredictable sometimes and you have to work with what you get, it's just always really lovely to be able to envision what might happen if you over-dye something, if you mix the dyes initially and everything. And I just love the outcome of this particular project, and it was kind of an experiment where I was testing different methods and different dye techniques, and I'm just very happy with the outcome. So let me show you those a tiny bit later, but I'm going to tell you which skeins are the ones that I just talked about. And another colorway that kind of happened after a dye experiment, that I was really happy about how it turned out, is this one. And this colorway is so beautiful. Look how it glows in the light. And I've decided to call this one Chestnut. I think it's just really beautiful. It looks as if it glows, like from within or something, I don't know. It's just really beautiful. So I should maybe mention that this colorway contains the dye stuff henna, which I know is something that some people, like, they are allergic to it. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually an allergy or whatever, but I just know from experience that, for example, if you have like a hair dye henna package or something, there's some information on it that you should test it on your skin first and on a small space before you dye your whole head with it, just because some people cannot tolerate the henna. So just in case you've experienced any issues with henna before, just so you know, this colorway does contain the henna, and even though I rinse everything very much and I make sure there's as little dye left in the skeins as possible, I wanted to put a little disclaimer here. And last but not least is another new colorway that I also really love, and this one is called Porcelain. And if you've been following along, you know I have another kind of off-white shade that's called Cloud. And if you compare these two, I would say that Porcelain has a tiny bit of a rosé undertone, if that makes sense. Almost like a super tiny touch of pink. But yeah, it's also one of the colorways that I feel like goes very well for mixing with other colorways. So yeah, it's a very good neutral, I guess, and I always try to include those into my palette, because I know that some of you might want something neutral as a base color and then combine other colors with it or something. So I always make sure to have a few neutrals in my palette. Something not so neutral, let me show you the next range of colors, and those are the result of another indigo dyeing session. So I should maybe have another little disclaimer section here, because if you dye with indigo, the process is very different from other natural dyeing, because indigo is a dye that doesn't bind to the fibers with the help of a mordant as other natural dyes are, but it actually binds by, like, in a physical way, if that makes sense. So you reduce the environment of the indigo pigments, and when it's reduced, the indigo like not molecule, I think it's called molecules. They are getting smaller in the reduced state so that they can penetrate the fiber that you put into the indigo vat. And then you leave it in there. And once you pull it out, the yarn and the dye, it oxidizes because the reduction is pretty much taking oxygen out of like the environment of the pigment. So with the oxidization that happens when you pull the yarn out and it is exposed to air, the molecules, they grow and kind of are trapped between the fiber molecules. So that's pretty much how it works with the indigo in a very simplified kind of way. I hope you're not blaming me on this, but I'm just trying to explain something to you that might be relevant. Because due to this physical kind of dyeing rather than chemical bonding, it can happen that the dye, when the pressure is added, for example, when you're knitting with it and your fingers and the needles put a little bit of pressure on the yarn, that some of the pigments, they loosen again from the fibers and they kind of fall out and can stain your hands blue. That's probably what you might have experienced if you've ever knit with indigo dyed yarn before. That it's called the so-called crocking, that the yarn just leaves a bit of a blue stain on your hands. This is not considered a problem or a flaw or anything. This is just how this dye stuff works. And there are certain things on how you can tweak the dyeing process to minimize the crocking. And that's what I always do in the best way possible. And still it can happen, for example, when I twist all those skeins that I've dyed with indigo, I can definitely see a stain on my hands. But the good thing is that there's nothing to worry about. You can just wash it off with a little bit of soap and water and that's it. So it's not gonna stain your hands permanently. But yeah, it happens and I just want to put that out here because I don't want you to be confused or whatever when it happens. So yeah, indigo can crock off on your hands and it's nothing bad about it. But I'm making sure you have proper aftercare tips because I designed a little indigo card, let's put it that way, like a little info with aftercare and everything, with my lovely illustrator and graphic designer friend Claire. So yeah, we designed a little indigo info card that I will include with every indigo dyed skein. So if you're purchasing one of those, I'm going to send you a little card where there is the info about crocking and how to do some proper aftercare for your indigo dyed knits. So hope that helps, and without further ado, let me show you the colors. So first of all, we have just a natural blue on a white base, a light but pretty it's light but still saturated, nice blue that I really love. It has a warm undertone, I feel, but it's very beautiful. And this one is just called Indigo 1. Then we have this one. And this is one of the ones that I just talked to you about, the pomegranate skeins that was over dyed with indigo, and it resulted in this super pretty light green, and it has a lot of, I don't know if you can see, but it has a lot of variegation between warmer specks and more bluish specks, and I think it's so beautiful. So I decided to call this one Mermaid because for some reason it really reminded me of mermaids. I don't know why. Maybe because I was rinsing it and I couldn't stop seeing it swirl in the clear water. It looked really like mermaidy. But yeah, this is the Mermaid. Again, not really a repeatable colorway, but I just felt like naming it this way. Next up is the darker sister of that Mermaid colorway, and I really love this one. This is like a deep bluish green. I think it's a bit more greenish in real life, I would say, than bluish. but I've decided to call this one Emerald. And I think it's really beautiful. Look at how the color plays in the skein with a couple of darker and bluer bits and some lighter and greener ones. I just really love this shade. So these are the 3 greeny blues and very indigo-y shades together. And then lastly, I also experimented with overdying more reddish shades with indigo. And this is the result of it, and I decided to call this one Eggplant because it's pretty much a super dark bluish eggplant purple, which I really like because it's so moody and almost makes me want to have Halloween or something. I don't know, but it's a really witchy, moody kind of purple, I feel. So yeah, this one is called Eggplant. And I think this is it for the indigo dyed colorways. They are really special to me, especially because they always turn out different every time I pull out an indigo dyed skein from a pot and I have this vibrant kind of blue. It's just really lovely. So I hope I will have the chance to have a few more indigo dyeing sessions over the summer, but yeah, as mentioned, it's not very... I cannot do it too often and it's very labor intensive. So these are the indigo dyed shades. And now I want to continue with showing you the little special I prepared. Because last time you were really excited about when I made the mini skein sets. And so I decided to bring them back for the summer before I take a little break. Which I'm going to talk about more in the next section, but I wanted to make them again, even though they're very labor intensive and they take me a lot of time because I hand wind every mini skein off of a bigger skein. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but I don't want to complain because I love how they end up looking and I know that you're all in love with these. So I decided to make them again for a little summery treat. And without further ado, let me show you the mini skein sets. So this is the first one and it's the most muted one of them all. It has a lot of pink, purpley shades. And let me try to hold them all this way maybe. But it's just really pretty. And this one is called Amethyst, and because I decided to call all those skeins or those sets after some gemstones because they really reminded me of those. And this is the Amethyst set. It has 6 skeins of 20 grams, and so you have 120 grams in total. Plenty to make a sock, and if you have like another contrasting skein or like a main color skein with it, you can also totally knit a shawl out of those. Because I should maybe say this is also our Corriedale sock base, so it has a 400 meter per 100 grams. So each of these mini skeins is 20 grams or 80 meters, and so you have quite a bit of yarn in each of these sets. So yeah, this is the Amethyst set. Next up we have something very summery that reminds me of an ice cream on a beach somehow. But this is the Citrine set. It features more warm yellowy and orangey tones. Don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I always try to include more punchy and then some more neutral colors, but they are all in the same family, so they are all kind of yellowy and orange in undertone. But just so you can also, if you would like to, you could knit kind of a fade out of it, so they all kind of match each other, I think. So this is the Citrine set. And lastly, maybe my favorite of them all, I shouldn't say that, but this is the aquamarine. And in this one I included some of our indigo dyed shades as well. And I think it's just very beautiful. Some darker blue and some more greenish blue, some light grey blue. So yeah, for those of you who are looking into some more bluish shades, this is the one. This is the aquamarine set. And here they are all together. And I think they just look so cute. I don't know, I don't normally really knit a lot with mini skeins. I shouldn't maybe say that, but I just like to look at them. I don't know, I just like to collect them and look at them, to be honest, because I really like the way they look. Look at this little bunch. So yeah, these are the mini skein sets, and as mentioned, this the aquamarine set also features a couple of indigo dyed shades, and so I'm also going to include the little aftercare information card to those mini skeins, just so you know about how to handle indigo dyed yarns. But yeah, those are the mini skein sets, and I think this also brings me to the end of the little show and tell of the colorways. So let me, in this last section of the podcast, let me tell you a little bit about the admin stuff around the shop update. So first of all, this shop update will be on the 29th of July at 8 p.m. GMT +2. So that's the Berlin time zone. And yeah, it's going to be as it normally is. I'm going to open up the shop and all the yarn will be available at 8 p.m. My time, so feel free to check what's that in your time zone. And also feel free to message me if you have any issues with that. But yeah, it will be on the 29th of July 2022, 8 p.m. GMT +2. And I should maybe just drop the message, the happy message, some of you might know already, but I'm able to ship to the UK again without a minimum order amount. If you've been following along for a while, you know that I had quite a high minimum order amount due to a VAT issue that I had, not I had, but I don't want to go too much in depth about this, but I had to wait to get a proper UK VAT number to be registered in the UK to be allowed to legally sell to the UK below that amount of, I think, £135 or something. And the registration is finally done, so I can sell to the UK again without a minimum. So all my UK friends, you can order again, and there is no problem with it anymore, so yay! I've also included all the info about the shipping and stuff to my shipping page. I've updated everything and you should get all the info on there as well. I'm going to link that down below. But there's all the info also with shipping rates and whether you'd like to choose the tracked or the tracked and insured or the tracked and uninsured version. All info is on the shipping page, and if there's anything you'd like to know about this, feel free to email me or send me an Instagram message and I'll gladly help. So yeah, I can ship to the UK again, which makes me very happy. And I hope that some of you UK folks who've been waiting patiently for me to solve this issue are happy to maybe be able to get something now again. So yes, that's the good news. And another thing is, that's not bad news. I shouldn't say it's a bad news, but I might not have a shop update in August because I've realized that I really need to take a little break. Like, I'm not going to be offline or I'm not going to take a proper break from everything, but there are a lot of projects in the making for the fall already, and also some other things that, as mentioned, I'm going to tell you more about soon. But I've been incredibly busy over the last couple of months, and I think I need to take a tiny bit of a break from being at more than 100% all the time. So I hope you understand, but it's not 100% a final decision, but I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have a proper shop update in August. So this is going to be the last shop update before the fall. And yeah, so I would recommend, if there's something you're looking into, I would recommend to be on time for the update, especially because I have dyed a couple of, like, some smaller quantities this time, and this update is a tiny bit smaller than my regular ones. So I can just recommend being on time, and yeah, just so you don't miss out, because I won't be able to restock very, very soon. So yeah, next update will probably be in September then. And I'm going to announce that as well, but for now this one is going to be the last update before my little break thingy. I will keep being on Instagram and everything, but I just need to sort a couple of things and prepare some exciting projects for the fall. I just need a little bit off of the regular shop update scheduling, because yeah, it has been a lot over the last few months, which I'm very grateful for, don't get me wrong. But I think just so I can be at full force again in fall and have a lot of nice projects coming for you, I just need a little bit of a break and relax a little bit, and yeah, maybe find my knitting mojo again as well. So yeah, I will. I won't be on like a proper vacation or anything for longer, so you can always reach me. But yeah, no shop update in August. That's the case. So yeah, if you're looking for some of the colorways that I've just showed you in this little video, now is the time to get it. And yeah, as always, if any questions occur, whether it's regarding shipping or anything, or if you'd like to have some pattern inspirations or need help with color choices, always feel free to email me. Email is the best way to reach me, because sometimes Instagram messages can be a bit messy. I always try to stay ahead of them, but yeah, if you have, like, if you would like to discuss something a bit more deeply, email is the best way, and I've linked my email address below. And yeah, I think that is it. I will also send out another little newsletter once the shop is live, so I would recommend signing up for that, especially if you're unsure about time zones and everything. You can get a little reminder from me right into your inbox if you sign up for the newsletter. And yeah, that's definitely the safest way to stay in touch with everything I'm working on. So yeah, recommendation to sign up for the newsletter. And I think I've now covered everything I wanted to tell you, and now I'm going to sit down and edit this video just to get it up for you, so you can maybe watch it during the weekend. But as mentioned, if you have any questions, I'm going to stay online most of next week and try to reply to them as soon as they come in and as quickly as possible. So yeah, I guess that's finally it. I hope you're having a lovely weekend, and yeah, hope you enjoy. Bye!